What's up, builders? So today I want to talk about a topic that I think is only going to grow in popularity, which are omni-channel agents. How do we build one agent brain and connect it to multiple communication channels, whether that's web chat, voice, things of that nature. Now, this is Voiceflow, which is certainly not the only platform that offers to build omni-channel agents, but in my opinion, I think it is one of the few that is doing both well at the moment. So let's talk about how this looks inside of Voiceflow and how we can use some of the information that Voiceflow provides us with some of their system variables in order to set this up. Okay, so this is a function that I have created that will allow us to understand what method of communication is this coming in from. Now you'll see I've got inbound call, outbound call, web chat, and then I also have prototype outbound, which is actually the specific designer test call button here. It actually sends its own unique call type, which maybe might be good for testing. Anyways, we're going to use something called last event, which is a specific Voiceflow variable inside of here. If we click last event and look at the description, the object containing the last event that the user client has triggered. Now, I have been using last event in certain builds. The enterprise scheduler that we built that kicks out to the website and feeds information back and forth. So I'm certainly aware of it. But there's actually a unique last event that happens on launch that provides us some information. If I open up VS Code here, I went through a couple of different methods of communication in order to see what Voiceflow fires from its launcher last event. And you'll see that web chat, it's just a single object type launch. But anytime phone and voice gets introduced, we actually pass an additional payload. So we get a call type, inbound, outbound, or prototype outbound, and then two pieces of useful information that we should store later in our builds, which is the user's phone number that we can of course use to look up existing customers and CRMs and send them text messages while we're on the phone with them, things of that nature. And then the agent number that has been dialed, or in the case of outbound, that is calling you, which we can, of course, then do things from as well. So let's go back into here. I want to show you how we can use this information to potentially organize different things that happen on a canvas and take different actions if we're in web chat or voice. And I'll show you this as an example. Got a web chat here. This is an electrician. How can I help you? To book an electrician. I can help with that. Please provide you with our email. Great. Perfect. To get started, please visit this link to fill out your customer information. Now, this is a hyperlink. Obviously, we're on web chat, but what if this was an inbound voice agent, right? It's a pretty common request to say, hey, I'd love a chatbot sitting on my website and also inbound support. Can start taking some of these calls off of my team as well. So you'll see here, I've got an agent node that I kicked out. Is this a web chat, which is just a conditional expression? If it's yes, you're going to have this link. But what happens here? If it's voice, I'm not going to send you a hyperlink or say, please visit mrelectric.com/contact-us. Like they're on the phone. That's not a good experience for the customer, right? We can just text them the link. And that's what this is. This is just a webhook that hits my N8N instance, which is connected to Twilio. And then I pass in customer phone and agent phone that I've gotten from my incoming function so that I can text. So let me pull out my phone real quick. We'll talk to the same agent that you guys are seeing right now in web chat land.
Hi, welcome to Mr. Electric. How can we help you today?
Yeah, I'd like to book an electrician.
I can help with that. Could you please provide your email address to proceed with booking an electrician?
Yeah, it's Connor@Umbral.ai.
Perfect. To get started, I've just texted you a link to fill out your customer information. Let me know if you have any issues.
Okay, I'm going to end the call, and you can see as well that I just got a text message from my agent that has the URL that I want to take the action. And you can see the two differences, right? It came through. Perfect to get started. I've just texted you a link. So we have the same scenario, the same situation, which is I want you to take this action while you are talking to the agent. And we've changed what's going to happen based off of what method of communication you're currently interacting the agent with. Okay. So now that you guys kind of understand like why this is potentially useful and different things that you could do, let's talk about how do we set this up. Now, for this kind of test demo, I have all of this. I've all of these feeding like the same general flow, but you can also imagine a scenario where I actually want to kick out to a different workspace to keep things clean because maybe you want completely different instructions for your voice agents. And there's a good chance that some of your prompting and agent instructions have some additional layers to them. And maybe you want to handle it in a completely different way. So I tried to keep things simple just for this kind of demo, just to showcase. So let's get into this. Last event is a variable that keeps getting updated in Voiceflow, similar to last response, last utterance. But as you saw in the description, it's more of a client-side event. So the first thing that I actually am doing is I need to stringify last event because I want to pass it into this function. And if I just pass last event in the function without stringifying it, it's going to come through as object string, which will be useless inside of my particular function. So you can either do this in a JavaScript step or just have a set variable to an expression, json.stringify, last event. Excuse me, I'm fighting a cold. All right, let's look at this function. Excuse me. Determine platform, I've named this function, webchat / voice agent call type. So this is going to do two things. It's going to determine if it's a web chat or it's a voice call. And if it's a voice call, we're going to save two pieces of information, which is the customer's phone number that we're interacting with and the agent's phone number, just in case we need to use it for something else. So we're going to take one input variable here, which is last event string. And then we're going to make sure and validate that we have stringified data here. Then we're going to parse it back into an object so we can access individual attributes inside of the object. So we're going to check the payload here, which last event dot payload. This is Voiceflow specific syntax that we're dealing with to go through what is the individual call type. Is it inbound? Is it outbound? Is it prototype - outbound? And then of course, if it is any of these, we're going to path to each of these individual paths and save output variables. So if it does not, if else, it's web chat, right? Because remember, at the time of this recording, web chat does not contain a payload in this launch last event. So this function works now, but we'll just kind of have to keep our eye on it as things change in the platform. We might have to change the way that this works at the moment. But for right now, okay, that's it. This is pretty straightforward, right? So I'll make this function available for download in case you find it useful. It has to go in the beginning. It has to go right here. It has to go right next to start node. And you also have to stringify it. So if you have any questions or any cool ideas of how to set this up in other ways or make it better, feel free to jump in. But I wanted to showcase the ability on how you might do this inside of single agent. Because you can imagine if you've got a large organization or a franchise that has a bunch of locations, you really want to try and steer clear of having like hundreds of different agents for like each of the franchise locations, because that starts to become really ugly quickly on managing this kind of stuff. So anytime that you can reduce that complexity and try to get things into one agent, I think is probably a worthwhile venture, because then it's less updating and managing and upkeeping a bunch of individual instances. So I think we're going to see a lot of this type of agent interactions, and I'm certainly going down the path of messing around and tying the Voiceflow dialogue API into Facebook leads, WhatsApp, and other things. So this type of functionality on checking the type of inbound communication, what we're trying to do from an omnichannel perspective before we even hit this welcome message. It's almost like a pre-chat, pre-call processing layer that we go through in order to extract and gain the information that we want, in order to have the agent control and the conversational design and the way that we can build these unique, useful user experiences for businesses and customers alike. So anyways, short and sweet today. Talk to you guys soon. Have a good weekend.